That right. All right. There we go. Thanks for joining us here today at Gracious host, Dr. Juice. Chop it up a little bit, man. We got to say rest in peace to Matumbo. I don't know, Matumbo was one of the greats, greats of the NBA. Got to give our salute to Matumbo. Blessings, bro. Hope your journey is fulfilling. Hope your journey, Nakembe Matumbo of the biggest big man of the greats, Mr. Matumbo. Y'all remember Mr. Matumbo used to have that finger. He used to wave that finger. You try to come in that paint. Matumbo used to raise that finger up to you. Don't come in here with that, man. You better have some little bit of, you better put some weight behind. You better put some more force behind. You better have some for real, get right. You come in that paint when Matumbo come through there. Matumbo will wave that finger at you. Hey, man, peace and love, man. Rest in peace, man. Rest in heaven, Matumbo. Rest in the universe. 58 years old. Man, the guy was 58. Man, that's young, bro. Died of brain cancer. He died of brain cancer. So that's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah. So hey, man, just coming at y'all real quick, man. I want to chop up some of this Puff Daddy stuff. There's a rumor. I don't know if it's rumor or speculation, or it may be some just some bad media. I don't know, but they say Puff is feds. They say Puff is federal bureau of them people. Y'all know what I'm talking about, them alphabet people. I have to watch how I say stuff because they'll censor my page if I say too much alphabet stuff, like them alphabet boys, FB and CI and all them people like that. Yeah, they say Puff is fed. And so I seen, let me see if I can share this with y'all, man. They say Puff put in a ruling today. Puff tried to put up an argument, but they got him on 3 counts of indictment, and he tried to appeal. He's no longer on suicide watch, so that's a good thing for our brother. So I think our brother was smart, man. He got out of that suicide watch stuff because you remember that guy Epstein, he got knocked off like that. He was in suicide watch and they had him isolated. They had him isolated away from population. I think Puff is going to be more safe in population versus out of population. So yeah, man. Y'all, it's a lot going on right now. You got Israel about to go into war they're going into uncharted territories now. They've dominated Palestine. They've completely destroyed the Palestinian areas, the West Bank. They've completely obliterated. I can never pronounce that. They've destroyed everything. In other words, they've destroyed everything in Palestine, and now they're trying to go into further regions of the Mideast. They're about to go into Lebanon, Beirut, Lebanon, and they're going to get ready to do a ground attack in Lebanon. And if they go into Lebanon, y'all get ready, man. Price of fuel is going to get jacked up through the roof, man. Y'all, please come on into the building. Make sure you like and share. Make sure you come in here, chat, send a chat. Come on into here, man. I want to hear what y'all got to say about this whole Puff Daddy thing, man. I want to hear what y'all got to say because, hey, man, that brother is FBA all day long. He's a foundational Black American. And regardless of what he did, Hugh Hefner in the Playboy Mansion, they did way worse. They did way worse than Puff. Come on, man. Let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it a buck 100. Hugh Hefner had juveniles. Hugh Hefner had sex trafficking. He made a lot of them catch flights. They got flued out. All of that. Come on, Hugh Hefner was doing that stuff for decades, and nobody ever indicted him on anything. If we're going to go at Puff, we got to go at Hugh Hefner. We got to go at everybody who helped Hugh Hefner, his staff. And that's somebody had brought up a good question. They said, why is none of the people that was around Puff, the people that was working for him and everything, why are none of them indicted? Don't you think they was conspiring? They are conspirators. They should be brought up on conspiracy charges. I'm just keeping it. I'm just asking questions. Hey, I don't know. Y'all come on into the building and let me know, because I'm trying to give y'all all the information I got. All I know is Puff put in some press for bail, and they denied him again. Bid for release while awaiting trial. He's trying to get released. I think the good brother know that his life is in danger. I'm reading some stuff right now. Let me see if I can pull it up for y'all real quick. Hold on, family. Y'all know I like to share the information with you, man. I'm not trying to stay on top of the information. If I come across something, I try to show y'all and make sure I show this with the family, man. Okay. Could have it on screen now. See that? Blow it up for y'all a little bit. I know y'all on your cell phones and whatnot. See if I can blow this up a little bit. See if we can blow that up for you. But there it is right there. There's the article right there. There is the article. Got the good brother right there. He tries to renew his bid. Sean Combs is appealing a prior ruling ordering that he be detained while he awaits trial. Combs, in a notice filed on Monday, appealed a federal court's order denying him bail. The two-page filing didn't specify arguments. The legal maneuvering seeks to overturn a ruling from the U.S. District Judge Andrew Carter, who found that Combs poses a safety risk to the community and to the witnesses in the case. Who are the witnesses? See, them witnesses, I guarantee you, they somewhat are conspirators. They basically was doing the same thing that Puff, so they're guilty of the same thing. So I just wanted to point that out real quick for y'all, family. This came after the government unsealed a 3-count indictment accusing Combs, also known as Diddy, of crimes related to alleged decades-long pattern of physical and sexual violence against people of his orbit. What the fuck does that mean? Federal prosecutors charged him with sex trafficking and racketeering, conspiracy, and directing a vast criminal enterprise. What kind of criminal enterprise? See, they're not giving us any answers. Through which he assaulted and trafficked women. Only women? I heard it was men too. See, that's right there. That's bullshit media right there. Trafficked women. I heard it was guys involved too. So right there, you see how the feminist movement is behind this whole article. You could tell that. With the help of various business associates from at least 2008, he was also charged with transportation to engage in prostitution. Combs had sought release of a $50 million bond secured by equity in his Miami residence. So he cashing in his property. So he got so much property and wealth, he's trying to swap that out to get money for his bond and whatnot, and he's trying to get that in favor of his prosecution. Let me see if I can get some more people in on this thing, man, because y'all don't want to chop this up. Y'all don't want to chop this up. Let's see if we can get some more people in on this here. I'm trying to get this thing, get a discussion about this thing, because I'm trying to tell y'all what's really happening. There's a attack on masculinity, especially when it comes to black men. They want to emasculate the black male. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to do that. And so I just want to chop this up because this is a perfect case of them trying to emasculate black men. I'm giving y'all a little bit of the. Let's go down to some of more of this stuff, man. I'm gonna play some of this stuff for y'all. Let me see if I can get some more people into the building because y'all faking with it. Y'all scared to let your voice be heard. If y'all scared, just say you're scared, man. I stop trying to bring, the family in. Y'all scared to speak truth to power. I'll start requesting that you speak truth to power. You can just pretty much stay part of the go along, get along game. See if I can get some heavy hitters in here, man. See if they're ready to chop up some game, man. Cause y'all scared. Let me see. I'm gonna do some little housework. Let me get some of my heavy hitters in. I was just going real quick, going live, because I want to get y'all input on this whole Diddy thing, man. I'm gonna let this here play while I'm checking this out. Hold on. If I can get this here to play. Mic check. Can y'all hear me? Let's see if I can get this in on y'all. Oh, yeah. Y'all check him out. They talking about for days, man. Hugh Hefner had people in house living in his house. Come on, man. Stop it. Miss me, man. Now my thing, hold up. My thing is, how do they know what type of drugs Combs was using? How do they know that right now in 2024 if this stuff happened in 2008? Why didn't anybody come out and say they was drugged in 2008? You see how the media can build a case? Do you see that? Do you see how the media will build a case on you? That's why it's so important for us to have our own media. This is why it is so important for us to have our own media so that we can speak our own truth to power. This is why this is so important that we have our own voices, our own media, so that we can control our own narratives. Because they're saying that this guy had all these types of drugs. See, this is why I do what I do. This is why I give you black media so we can have the black side of the story. Look at this. I'm gonna rewind this back. He's accused of drugs like cocaine, ketamine, and he's accused of coercing, of using drugs like cocaine, ketamine, and intimidate females into his crime. How do you do that? See, we got to start asking these important questions. How do you coerce somebody? See, you got to pay attention to those buzzwords and those trick words because they're building a case against this good brother. And I ain't saying he all the way good, but he a black man. So I got to ask some questions. I got to say, hey, man, what? Why y'all ain't come at this man in 2008? How are all these victims coming out now? You have to pay attention to that part of it. How can they prove that this man gave somebody ketamine and cocaine and other drugs? Hold on, let me let this play a little bit. He got some good stuff on him. Look at it. Combs' attorney announces that Diddy is eager to testify and share his story at trial. He finna sing. He finna tell it all. So I'm telling y'all, this just juice here at Urban Matters Black Media Group. Don't be surprised is this black rich man wind up dead in the prison system, like a lot of our brothers do. Like a lot of our brothers never get to tell their story. And I'm not taking up for P. Diddy. I'm not taking up for him, but it's a lot behind this. It's a lot for him to be revealed. And y'all got to pay attention to this whole agenda of effeminizing and buck breaking the black man in American society. They want to break him down. They want to impoverish him again. And so this is why I try to tell you guys, be very, very careful, man. The lifestyles that you take on and the lifestyles that you accept under your white masters. These, y'all know them J people. They very powerful. Them J people are very powerful. And listen, they're not playing games. Remember now, Puff came out and said we needed to start our own political party. This was after he was the founder of the what's the name of that network he had that he was pushing, and they were just basically a Democrat Shield type of website. They was a Democrat Shield knockoff. What's the name of that? Professor, I see you in the building. What's the name of that network that Puff Daddy had started?
I can research that for you. How you doing, Dr. Juice?
How you doing? Research that real quick for us. He had what's it? Revolt. That's it. They made Puff like almost the CEO over there. He had a lot of shares in that company, Revolt. It was like this somewhat hip hop, kind of almost like BET, but it was just a knockoff of BET. And y'all know that Russell Simmons, that good brother, he left the States because he knew they was coming at him next. See, Puff knew they was coming at. The reason why they came at Puff because they couldn't get Russell over Def Jam Records, Def Jam Productions. And so Puff was the next in line. So Russell went over to, I think he went over to Malaysia or somewhere. He went over to one of them Asian damn islands where there's no, what do they call it when they try to get your ship back?
Extradition.
Extradition. There you go. Yeah, he went over there where they can't come at him now. So hell, Russell ain't coming back. But Russell was talking some shit too. I seen Russell in the media. What's going on, Professor? I was just playing this thing. I'm gonna finish letting this ride out.
Well, Dr. Juice, I'm always happy and impressed with the hard work and the sacrifice that you're putting into this platform. And I don't know anyone else in your community who is as passionate about Black media, giving your community an alternative source of factual information. I don't know nobody else that's doing that. Your ancestors are truly smiling upon you, Dr. Juice.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Yes, a lot of people, man, they want to just stay, they want to stay focused on the distractive topics like football and basketball, and they want to just, they don't even see that Israel is about to invade Lebanon and the blowback that's going to happen when that happens. When they go into Lebanon, that's going to put Iran in the game. And if Iran get in the game, it's not going to be pretty over here, man. It's going to have all types of terrorist backlash. It's going to have all types of, and a lot of these people are already in place is what I try to get them. And they, I seen Christine Lagarde. If anybody know who Christine Lagarde is she's the president over she was over the IMF, but I think she's over she's over the IMF now. She used to be over the Bank of England, the Central Bank of England, the EU. And she's now the president and the CEO over, not the CEO, but the director over the IMF. The IMF is the International Monetary Fund. And they decide what currency is the world reserve leader or currency or the most powerful currency in the world. And she came out and made an announcement today that she is giving the green light for us to start investing in other banks around the world. So she's saying, hey, don't just put all your eggs in one basket in the US. You need to right now, I'm just putting this out there. This is what she said. You need to start putting your money in other markets, in other countries, and start investing in other countries and trying to do banking in other countries, Professor. Hey, I'm just a messenger. Don't get mad at me.
Well, Dr. Juice, again, you're planting some very valuable seeds. The beautiful part about a digital footprint is going to always be there. And I know that you get frustrated sometime with my generation, and because they have the money, they have the resources, but they're not gonna share that and empower you because they don't understand. So you must know that these seeds are for your grandchildren, the fruit of knowledge that you are publishing. When you're dead and gone, when I'm dead and gone, this information will be there. And let me give an example of that. So, what was the Robertson guy name that was running for governor in North Carolina? Was it Mike Robertson or something like that? What was his name?
Yeah.
Well, think about this, Dr. Deuce. I'm going to cite you a couple of cases. I don't know how far they went back. I don't know whether it's true or not. But look what digital evidence is what took him out of the game. He was accused of being on a porn site. And the messages that he allegedly had typed on his porn site, whatever it is, I put it like this. It was enough validity to take him out.
Mark Robinson, yes, sir.
I'll give you another case of digital evidence. I heard you was talking about this dIDDY case. And I'll give you a quick lecture on that. It's 2
yes,
points.
Sir.
Number one, you always want me to talk about history, so I'll give you a 3-minute history lesson. During slavery, Dr. Juice, the way the master controlled the masses, he would take the biggest slave. In dIDDY's case, he was one of the biggest slaves financially. He was a big slave, as you pointed out. You just said that he was going to do a network and all of this big money stuff, and he was got Sirach. So he was a big slave. So here's what the master do, and it never changed. They're gonna take that slave like they've done the other slave, and they're gonna beat him decently in front of all the slaves, just like they did R. Kelly, just like they did Bill Cosby, and just like they're gonna do him. It's what I call a digital public lynching. Now, I can appreciate you going through all the details and all that, and it's good for your audience to know that. You seem to be interested. But here's the fact, Dr. Juice. They have at least 15 years of evidence on him. So you asked the question, one of the questions that I heard you ask, you said, how do they know about drugs? How do they know? I can tell you one thing for a fact. There's unbelievable technology that's in the market now that the average black person don't have a clue about. They got AI. AI can smell. AI can see. It can feel. It can do a lot of things that you're not aware of. So one of the things that you said we're going to do in the future is that I really want to educate.
Take a break. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I really want to educate your audience about AI and robotics and the things that they're putting themselves in harm's way by really not knowing. Gonna have to do a better job of educating yourself. I would encourage any and all black folks, do not run away from AI because it will catch you. If you look at what's happening now with the ports, they're talking about layoffs, and of course that's a supply chain disruption. So when you think about supply chain, when you're thinking about international products and foods, they're talking about shortages. So you really got to look at those things so that you can be ready. Question that I have is that, do you have a readiness plan for yourself? Do you have a readiness plan for your family? You know, I would advise to stock up with water. I would advise to stock up with perishable food. These are things that I would encourage my community to do, because I would imagine within 24 hours, we will know whether or not there'll be a major disruption in the supply chain. We'll know whether or not there'll be strikes. And we're talking about all up and down the East Coast, ports. You got ports on the West Coast. So think about this. Tomorrow is going to be October 1st, okay? And this is when corporations look to make their money in the fourth quarter at the end of the year, right? And it's based around holidays. We have Halloween. And by the way, they're so desperate, they started promoting Halloween early. I saw Halloween advertisements and products. I guess they know something. They were doing that in September. They're stocking up so there won't be a shortage. But then you have Halloween. Then you have Columbus Day. Then you have Thanksgiving. Then you have Christmas. Then you have New Year's. You have all of these holidays coming up that's designed for corporations to make money, businesses to make money. I plan to make money. The winter's coming up. We got to produce firewood. It's all wood. So the fourth quarter is very important if you are a business owner, if you own a business. What are you doing to prepare yourself for disruptions, right? How are you going to make money? If there's a chain reaction to the layoffs, if it's going to disrupt the supply chain, where distributors, resellers, retailers, if all of their business is going to be disrupted, and what you do is connected to any of this, what happens if you get laid off? If you have a job? If you have a business, what impact would this have on your business? And then, will there be a long-term impact to your financial well-being? And what I mean by that is, everybody is going through some sort of digital transformation. Right now, I'm working on a curriculum that deals with AI and robotics in the pharmaceutical industry internationally. In this research, what I'm finding is that the implementation of automation, which, by the way, is one of the conditions that the strikers have in their negotiation, they want to limit automation. And why they want to do that? Because if you can automate a process to reduce costs in the supply chain, and you're saving money, you're eliminating human error, you're doing all of these things, and you're cutting costs, where does your job stand if that technology replaces the process that you've been hired to do? Have you researched your job? There's no job security. So you're really going to have to look at several things. And I'll land my plane with this, Dr. Zeus. You're going to have to look at a readiness plan for your family. You're going to have to research what impact will AI and robotics have on your ability to make money. You also need to look at your own education and skill set. And you need to get yourself ready for the future, Dr. Juice.
Absolutely. Listen, what Professor is trying to tell y'all, you can hide under all the rocks you want. You can ignore every single signal that you are aware of. You can keep pandering. You can keep being politically distracted by political theater and what boogeyman you want to vote for. But at the end of the day, if you can't make money and provide for your family, when I say make money, I mean globally. Because what we have done, we sat back so long that globalists are running our country right now. You got your Bidens and all of them people globalists. That's why when you hear Trump say a lot, oh, it's all about America. It's all about this nation. You better start listening to that. And I'm not saying Trump is your guy. But one thing I can say, he is trying to help America get economically empowered and strong again, because we lacking, man. We behind every nation in this country. Everybody is crapping on us right now, man. And if we already weak as hell. And my question is, the current administration, how are they going to fix the problems that's created by this administration, by allowing this administration to keep creating the problems? How are we going to solve anything? I like to ask questions. I don't like to assume anything. I like to ask questions to the family so that we can get some dialogue that makes sense. I want to talk about some intelligent dialogue that makes sense. You get what I'm saying, family? And my question is, how is this stuff going to be fixed when we're going to sit up here and go turn around and do the same lame brain stuff we did 4 years ago? How are we going to economically help our family? And then on top of that, they trying to take your man, the black man, and they trying to effeminize him to make him seem like he's just a loser. He can't be a provider. He can't organize his family. He can't have his household in order. He's a loser. and you're sitting here allowing them to steadily push gender divide. That's all this is with Puff. They want to talk about what Puff did to the women. What about what Puff did to the men? From how I'm hearing it from my side of the spectrum. Am I right, Professor? I heard he liked boys too. T.D. Jakes and all these, allegedly. All these entertainers, Will Smith, and come on, man.
So you always, one of the things you ask me to focus on when I respond, you always want me to give you some sort of historical context in a 3-minute lecture. So let me do a 3-minute lecture. So you want the history. So let me tell you where that originated from, Dr. Juice. Again, when we traded ownership for integration in the mid-'60s, prior to the mid-'60s, you very rarely saw Black people in television. Bill Cosby was one of the first Black person on a TV show. You would see that in a positive way. I mean, during the 50s, they had the buffoons and minstrels and all of that. So as we matured into the 60s, Bill Cosby was the first. Then you gradually had Black people more and more in somewhat during that time positive roles. Now let's talk about the movies. So we went from Amos Andy to when we went to integration, movies then became what they call the Black exploitation. If you remember, in the early 70s, the box office movies was the Superfly, the Mac. It was about the Black man being the pimp, and the Black woman, she the hoe. And I've met Pam Grier in person, and I've always been a fan of Pam Grier. And let me tell you about Pam Grier in the 70s. She was very fine. And then what they did, you see Pam Grier and they'll let you, she'll drop one of her breasts or something like that, and you can see between her legs. That was what Black people, because you didn't have your own media, you didn't control anything. So that's what those people that you talk about, that was the culture. It started in the 70s when you traded ownership for integration, because you didn't own your own media. So you gave it to other people, and that's what they gave you. So Puff Daddy and all these other people that you see, they are generations of that Black exploitation that started when you traded ownership for integration. How about that?
That's what we did, and that's what we're still suffering from, Professor. Exactly. Thank you for that, Professor. Thank you for that insight, Professor. I want to play something for the family real quick to just kind of put them on some game at why I think they came at Puff. Now, I don't know how many people saw this interview, Professor, of P. Diddy and Charlemagne doing an interview. I'm going to play this for y'all real quick. See if I can play this for y'all real quick. We go.
There's a new Negro, and that new Negro, that new Black person is not scared, is not fearful, they're not afraid to die. They understand that this is life and that violence has to be an option. What will give us some time to really step into the momentum of the unity and love is let's get Trump out of office. If Trump's in office, there's gonna be bloodshed.
Well, then you're gonna have Trump's supporters who pissed off that he's not in there no more. So they're gonna get buck regardless.
Yeah, if they get buck,
we got a nuck.
No, if they get buck, I wish they would.
Word. Word. Mm-hmm.
They get buck, we're gonna eat their arms off. Mm-hmm. We're not gonna keep on playing with these people. Mm-hmm. We have one job first right now, and that's to get Trump out of office. And then what we could do that is a nonviolent action is we could mobilize and organize politically.
Yeah, you know, when you keep talking about mobilizing and organizing, that's literally all you've been doing your entire career, though.
Yes.
Like, you mobilize people to go to the liquor store. You mobilize people to buy records. You mobilize people, you know, to buy clothes. Like, you should be able to do that when it comes to politics.
You have a lot of scary people. People are with, you know, incremental change. That's not going to get us anywhere. If we stay on this trajectory, in 30 years, we'll have zero wealth. And all of that is tied back to if we unify. If we don't unify politically, we don't unify economically, and most importantly, we don't unify in love, then we're not gonna last. They have us on a planned trajectory for in 30 years for my daughters and sons to be broke. Everybody to be broke, like zero wealth.
I wonder if we should be the ones having these conversations, or should we be standing by the people who really, really do this for a living and empowering them?
When I build my businesses, I put best in class in there. So our Black Party is gonna have best in class in all areas, people from our community. And we have to unapologetically do that. And sometimes people are in big positions. You may be working at Google, you may be working at this bank. You have to come and give that information to your people. So it's bigger than me, and it's bigger than any one of us.
Did you have a relationship with Trump ever? Because, you know, Trump loved the hip-hop community at one point. Or hip-hop loved him.
He would pop up at events. We respected him as a shrewd businessman. He definitely embodied the hip-hop spirit, but God had different plans for him. God wanted to use him in this moment for change. He wanted to use Trump to expose the level of racism that's been hidden.
And you operating from a place of no fear. Do you think that they will try to threaten your bottom line?
I don't have no fear. I believe in my people. I believe that, you know, that we're gonna stick together. Yeah, I don't have no fear how they gonna feel about this. Somebody need to be telling them this shit because they too reckless. I wouldn't be loved if I wasn't saying this. If we mob up, we will break them easily. But if you're not mobbing up, due to the situations we in right now to really take advantage of this moment, it's not gonna happen overnight. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Until we have a system that serves us, right?
Okay. Well said. Wow. Wow. I don't think a lot of people seen that flick right there, Professor. Puff say, let's mob up. Who was Puff talking about? Who was Puff talking about, Professor? See, that's why they came at Puff. Right there, because Puff was talking about, if you really kind of paid attention to him, he was talking about breaking off from the Democrat Party. He was talking about starting our own Negro Party. You heard him, right? He didn't bite his tongue. And see, Puff is too powerful of a guy to be talking about he don't need them J people no more. Puff was basically saying, I don't need them J people. Let's do this on our own. He said, you heard what he said? There's a lot of scary people running around in our culture. You heard him say that, right? Did he say that, Professor? Was I hearing something? Was I just hearing things?
Well, you know, a lot of times, and I'll just play the devil advocate.
And look what he said about the economic side of things. You heard what he said? Come on.
I play the devil advocate.
He talking our language. He talking Urban Matters language.
Absolutely. And then, but one would have to consider from a devil's advocate perspective, there's a psychological term referred to as projecting. And I was wondering, was he referring to himself as well?
Absolutely.
While he was saying it, while his narrative, I mean, with that, but you know, his methodology is to be questioned. For example, what did he say? Gang up, puff up. What did he say?
Mob up.
So define that for me, so that I won't make any assumptions.
He's trying to say we need to You heard what he said. First, he kind of stemmed off the violence. He said we may have to get violent. We may have to become a mob to go against these people. That's what he said.
Well, let me tell you the problem with that. Let me tell you the problem with that. As a professor, as a professional, black people are not prepared to do no mob up. First of all, when it comes to STEM, when it comes to education, we're on the bottom. What kind of technology does he have to mob up anything? And until we become better educated, we don't even know how to spell mob according to Department of Education and all statistics. We're on the bottom of math. We're on the bottom of science, technology, on the bottom. Our children have the lowest reading level in the whole country. So that's why I asked you, what does mob up mean?
Well, I think he's talking about doing something like what the Deacons of Defense did. I'm thinking he's talking about doing like the war heroes did in Tulsa, Oklahoma. They just got tired.
Yeah,
They
okay.
got tired.
I'm gonna speak from a law enforcement perspective. Look at how many people our Judge Grady rounded up in a day. Judge Grady in Polk County got the best technology in the country, and he rounded up 140 gang members who decided that they want to mob up.
Well, that's different, Professor. Though that we ain't talking about no gang. We talking about politically getting on code.
When you use, what I'm saying is, when you look at the words that's being used across the network. AI listens to that. AI listens to words like violence. AI listens. You yourself say, "Oh, Professor, my network." You got to understand when you're in a public forum, and this is what I have to always emphasize to my people. They're not watching. They got AI doing it. It listens to everything you say. So
let me ask you a question then, Professor. Should people just be scared and then do
no,
what? What's your suggestion? What's your alternative suggestion?
Education.
I mean, you saying educate ourselves. How so? I mean, we're already educated. So how can we educate ourselves in terms of being able to politically start a movement that will independently support us to where we can have our own, and we wouldn't need to even go to them to get support.
The same way that your ancestors did. The same thing your ancestors did. They didn't. First of all, public school systems came about during the Industrial Revolution. So if I talk about time, you got to look at your time. You got to look at when the Industrial Revolution took place. So how did black people educate themselves before the Industrial Revolution? The education policies was built around the Industrial Revolution so that you could take your ass to work from 9 to 5. But before that, black people, after the Emancipation Proclamation in 1865, between 1865 and 1890, the black literacy rate went from 90% illiterate, cut in half to 50%. And there was no public school system, bro. So what you're gonna have to do, Dr. Juice, before you can start using words that you can't even spell and mob up and all this crazy stuff, you got to look back at how did your ancestors survive. You got to look at the wisdom that they used to do better than you're doing now. So I always go back to that. You asked me to go back to that, so I'm doing my job. You said, Professor, tell us about history. Tell us about history. So we're the only people, Dr. Juice. We would rather talk about Jesus than the wisdom that our ancestors applied to survive. That's why they're in bad shape. Nobody's teaching that. Nobody's looking at the strategies and the things that your ancestors had to do before you start doing backwards.
Well, they're looking at it, Professor, but they just expecting for white daddy and Joe Biden and the Democrats to figure it out for them.
Exactly. That's what you get. That's what you forget for thinking that those people had flavored water. And here's what I'm saying, Dr. Juice. Until you can go back to that period of time and analyze that and examine and discuss, why did you make that decision? It's a simple question. Why did you think those people's water was flavored when it was poison? That was the Jim Jones type of move, bro. You drank the Kool-Aid.
Well, I think that's what they're doing with us with the whole Boule movement, the fraternities, and sororities, and they are the gatekeepers of the Black community. So how do we maneuver around those gatekeepers that's being the overseers for the powers that shouldn't be? They won't allow our people to do what we have to do to get ahead. They literally do the bidding of their masters. How do we deal with them?
Very easy. So even the gatekeepers are obsolete. And the reason why I say the gatekeepers are obsolete is because never before in the history of mankind we have the technology that we have today. When you look at technology from yesterday, the gatekeeper could control your communication. The gatekeepers could control access to opportunity. That model, what do you call it? The meritorious manumission model, you can do for yourself. Technology allows you to do for yourself. You can get around them because there's nothing that you can do with what I call a political alcoholic. Those gatekeepers that you're talking about, they're intoxicated. They're intoxicated with that Kool-Aid, with that flavored water. You got to understand what started. They got
so how do we call them out? How do we hold them accountable?
Well, first of all, I believe that they're going to self-destruct myself. That's just professor thought. I believe that there's a lot of moving part that's going on in our world today. They're unprecedented. Unprecedented. And I believe that these Boule people, when their people who are feeding them, so you got to understand the political shift and the things that are happening. Look at they've been fed for how long? The Boule's been fed since 60 years. For 60 years. So everything has a cycle. In macroeconomics, they call it diminishing return. Diminishing return means that you will go to a certain height, and at that point, you will decline because you reached the
peak. And thanks for pointing it out, Professor, because I have to let my Boule, my fraternity sisters and brothers and sorority sisters, let y'all know that when I point that out, I'm not frowning on the whole committee. I'm not frowning on the whole organization. I'm just frowning on those high-level officials that pretty much set the agendas, and they are in high places, black faces in high places. It's some stuff going on, trust me, family, at the top, my sorority sisters and my fraternity brothers, that you don't even understand how it works. If you know about the Boule, a lot of y'all aren't even part of the Boule. Just a select few are part of that Boule crowd. And it depends on your type of influence, the level of influence that you have on the black community. And if you just was going through and you was pledging and you just pledging your rights and all of that, you don't even understand what's going on. Trust me. And I'm not pointing at y'all. So don't get sideways and think that I'm talking bad against our brothers and sisters who humbly and who faithfully stand up and, support their pledge. Trust me, it gets a little deeper. And we're going to go into that in another segment. But I'm not pointing at you guys. And the same thing I point out some of our immigrant brothers and sisters about you tethers. You're not a tether. A tether is an action. Tether is not a person. It's not a subject. A tether is an action. It's an action word. It's a verb. So I'm not talking about y'all either, my immigrant brothers and sisters, when I point y'all out on this platform. So keep that in mind, Professor. But hey, Professor, thanks for that. We're just having a short segment tonight. We're going to come back tomorrow and we're going to finish chopping this up, man, because we got to get to the bottom of why and what and how will we surpass this economic shift that's about to take place. Will we be beneficiaries or will we be impoverished even further? Y'all stay tuned.